Hi, meteorologist Tony Petrarca in the Pinpoint 12 Forecast Center. You clicked on the Weather Now link on what is a very important weather situation. It's a severe weather alert. Of course, we've been tracking Tropical Storm Henri, expected to become a hurricane, and the new data continues to point to a potential landfall here in southern New England on Sunday. It's the reason why a hurricane watch has been issued for Sunday. So let's set the stage. This will run a little long for obvious reasons. We've got a lot of stuff to cover. All right, looking at the satellite loop and what appears to be a storm that's getting better organized, but at this point, not quite a hurricane yet, but anticipated to move into an environment that's favorable for development starting tonight through all of Saturday, and more than likely becoming at least a Category 1 hurricane. And show you the latest from National Hurricane Center. Winds now are back up to 70 miles per hour. The pressure has dropped a little bit, and the movement now is no longer west, but rather more of a northwesterly direction. We were expecting that, so it's beginning that turn, that northwest turn to eventually north, and then heading up the coastline. Now, this is the latest forecast track from the Hurricane Center, and you can see how it continues to show a landfall right over southern New England. This particular one is on the Connecticut-Rhode Island border. So let me kind of step you through here. This is 8 in the morning, Category 1 hurricane Sunday morning, approaching as either a Category 1 or a hurricane or a strong tropical storm. There really isn't much of a difference in terms of weather. This would be 8 p.m. It is a tropical storm, significantly weaker by Monday morning, 8 a.m. up towards Worcester, and it's racing up towards coastal Maine Monday night into Tuesday. So this red line represents where the forecast track of the center of the storm will be. Still some wiggle room here. It could go as far west as western Connecticut or as far east as Cape Cod, but right now the track takes it right in our wheelhouse, unfortunately. And keep in mind that the exact track will dictate how the rainfall plays out, the wind direction, and the storm surge. Who gets the most rain? Who gets the strongest wind? And from what direction? Is it onshore or offshore? And also the magnitude of storm surge, in other words, flooding from ocean water being pushed towards the coastline. In the exact track, if you're on the left-hand side of the storm or the right-hand side of the storm, will dictate all 3-4 of those factors. As we take a look at probabilities of tropical storm force winds, in other words, winds that are at least 39, 40 miles per hour or higher, sustained, not in gusts, but sustained. And no surprise here, you see this area in darker red. I mean, it's running like an 80 to 90% chance of tropical storm force winds. By definition, tropical storm force is anywhere between 39 and 73 miles per hour. Sustained, not gust, just constantly blowing at that speed. Of course, hurricane force is over 73. So you see those probabilities that have increased. And the other thing that's increasing, obviously, is the wave height. And this is the wave height forecast model, and it's showing, obviously, building waves to our south Saturday evening. And watch where this goes. It is right up against the coastline on Sunday. Large surf and pounding waves on the shoreline. And these are going to be brought in with, if the storm tracks to our west, as it is forecast to do right now, it'll come with an onshore wind. In other words, the wind coming in off the ocean and towards the coastline. And that's where the storm surge comes into play. So, the rise in ocean water, along the south shore and along both Buzzards Bay and Narragansett Bay. And right now the surge forecast is somewhere between 3 and 5 feet. And what determines the height of the surge is, how strong is the hurricane? And where is it tracking? Is it occurring during high tide, low tide? We have astronomical tides high both Saturday night and Sunday night, and it's really the Sunday night tide that is somewhat concerning. Here's a kind of a different look at it. So, in other words, we get this onshore flow of wind pushing towards the coastline, and really just, literally pushing the water up into Narragansett Bay, up into Buzzards Bay. So you get water rises all in here, and that is the storm surge. And that's something that we'll watch very closely. Here's kind of a different. Well, first of all, regardless, obviously you're going to have extreme surf, extreme rip currents. Major league wave action along our south shore. So when we take a look at the impacts, damaging wind gusts, or actually damaging wind, power outages, flooding, both either from storm surge or from rain. There'll be a lot of rain depending on the track. And, with landfalling hurricanes, depending on the exact track, you can sometimes get isolated tornadoes. So it wouldn't surprise me if at some point on Sunday there's actually a tornado watch issued. So here is the impact, the timeline. I really don't see any issues for this evening. Saturday day, Saturday evening. I mean, any wind increasing wouldn't be until late Saturday night. And then everything is really centered on Sunday, morning, afternoon, and night as far as high impact weather, and then kind of lingering Monday morning, but with some gradual improvements in terms of rain and wind. Looking at New Bedford, obviously, the worst of the weather in terms of, at least in terms of wind being felt here along the coastline. Of course, this is clearly an example of the calm before the storm. So as far as tonight, I mean, other than an isolated shower, we're doing pretty good. Your plans Friday evening, you're running last minute preps, going to the store and things like that. It looks fine. Saturday morning and Saturday afternoon, it looks fine as well. Mix of clouds and sun, warm and humid. Saturday afternoon, your temperatures much like today, between 80 and 85, and then obviously the weather going downhill on Sunday. So you want to stay tuned for further updates and new information from the Hurricane Center coming in again at 5:30 this afternoon. Another update at 11 p.m. We've got it covered, team coverage. Tomorrow morning, the entire weather team is in this weekend, both Saturday and Sunday. So, stay tuned. We're going to, now that we feel as though that we're getting impacts, we're going to try to micromanage and get really detailed as far as locations of heavy rain and wind direction and storm surge and things like that. All right, that's your latest Weather Now update. Thanks for logging in. We'll talk to you soon.